Hi everyone, what's new and exciting? Welcome back to Miss Belinda Services. As promised, this is the second part in my series on highlighting the psychological impact on a functioning when one is experiencing a breakdown in communication, a disconnect from a significant other, and separation, and obviously in a process of divorce. Um, we were able to highlight the five stages, which some have expanded to seven or even contracted to two stages. And you can refer to the first video for a more in depth explanation of these stages. However, we did highlight the stages of denial, we highlighted anger, we highlighted bargaining, we highlighted depression, we highlighted acceptance, and we also highlighted reconstruction and moving on. Now, some of the factors that we already established is that grief and loss is experienced by people uniquely, meaning that one size doesn't fit all, and that the impact of one's upbringing, nature or nurture, how grief may have been interpreted by adults or people around you, whether it was the cultural connotations or whether it was religious connotations or even how families process grief. How do they interpret it? How do they express it? All of this impacts uniquely how each individual processes and experiences grief. And so that would inadvertently, you know, impact how we function when we are experiencing traumatic experiences. Um, we've also established that, this is a very complex and emotional process, obviously, and it impairs functioning because if you think about having to experience any of these stages, you can imagine how the expectations are for you to show up, you know, and function either effectively or not effectively. We've also established, or at least I can establish now, that um, when you experience the stages of grief, it is not necessarily a linear experience, meaning that you do not necessarily go from one stage to the other. So there can't be an anticipation of, I am at the depression stage and therefore the next stage for me is going to be acceptance, and that's not how that works. Some people start from one stage, could start from depression and stay at depression for a very long period of time. I also explain to my clients for the most part that um, depression, or rather grief, comes in waves. Grief comes in waves. So if you've ever experienced waves, sometimes you have waves coming, it comes crashing to the shore, and other times it just, gentle waves. So all that to say, everyone's experience is unique. Therefore, the way that most people will function is also going to be unique. I wanted to shed a little bit more light also on the psychosomatic, symptoms, meaning that how does this experience impact the body and the mind? So, psychosomatic basically is just talking about how is the emotional stress affecting, you know, um, the physical sources, where the physical source is coming from. And this is in relation to how the physical symptoms become persistent over a period of time. So you might find people showing up at the doctor's office with complaints or symptoms of maybe high blood pressure or fatigue or increase in inflammation. Some will show up with, not knowing what's going on, but they're just not feeling good. They feel out of it. Some have a lack of no appetite. Some are gaining weight because they're overeating or comfort eating. Some might show up with symptoms of anxiety attacks or even panic attacks, and may not relate that to whatever stresses that they are encountering in life. So it's important that as we check in with ourselves on how we're feeling, especially if you're going through a breakdown in communication or separation, is to make sure that you are seeking the support that you deserve. Mental health practitioners and professionals, as well as primary care physicians, are fully equipped, to assess where you are at in this process, to figure out what could be going on with you, and to help you either unpack or process, you know, um, your situation, and also to provide you with strategies that would help, improve your mental health and well being. So, having said that, this is just to highlight how important it is to seek support when you are experiencing some of these symptoms. Um, and hopefully that helps. So, as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Miss Belinda Services at gmail.com or on any of our handles at Miss Belinda Services, and I will be glad to answer those questions. I recognize that just two parts of this series is not comprehensive enough. So, specific questions or free consultations, absolutely you're welcome. Otherwise, I hope you have a good one, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.